I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your 3-minute cattle market update for Friday, February the 17th, where the industry is just waiting on the fat cattle trade for this week. We haven't seen hardly any trade at all. We talked earlier about the online fed cattle sales. Didn't sell very many of the cattle. What few sold near 119. Then we found out late Wednesday there was just a few more, not even as many as a decent feeder cattle auction in the whole 5-area feeding region, but there's a few more around $1.19. That's probably going to be where the trade is at, but they're still both digging in, and we haven't seen exactly anybody blink yet, but it'll be interesting to see when that does take place. But here late Thursday, haven't seen anything yet. You look at the board on Thursday, live cattle futures for April. Wednesday was down 65, Thursday down a dime, ending the day on Thursday at 113.25, and that's on the April. Your February spot market's at 116.52, which sure doesn't help the guys that are trying to get more for fat cattle. Your feeder cattle board, March Wednesday was up 27 cents, Thursday down 45, ending the day on Thursday at 123.82. And like I said, we're just waiting on this fat cattle trade. They have had a few dress sales at 188. That would be $2 lower, but I'm not talking about hardly any sales. Maybe just a pin here or a pin there, but it may be late Friday before we get any sales out of them. But box beef cutout values have been fairly strong this week after taking a beating last week, showing some strength and just not hardly giving in, and haven't had a big movement, but the Packers are digging their heels in on their end too, trying to keep the beef up as good as they can. Slaughter kind of took a hit there on Thursday due to that immigrant strike, but it's not as bad as a lot of people thought it might be. Your slaughter for the week through Thursday is 433,000, which is down 13,000 from last week, but up 21,000 from the same week a year ago. Your actual dressed steer come in, it's 2 weeks delayed there, but on your average of a dressed steer weight is 887 pounds. That's up 3 pounds from the previous week, but we've just had such nice weather. And the weather is good. I've been up here in South Dakota working here for the last week or 10 days, and I mean just in the 50s, just nice weather. Just people can't believe it. You know, guys out in the sale barn parking lot just sunning, you know, like a bunch of boar hogs or something. And some of my friends in northwest Missouri just couldn't stand it. They had to hook up their corn planter. And it's just amazing the unseasonably warm weather that we're seeing. And it's like spring-like, but we're still a ways from it and probably have another blizzard or two before it's over. You look at your feeder cattle auctions, middle of the week, El Reno, Oklahoma had 6,300 head on Wednesday. Their market was lower, just like Oklahoma City was really weaker too, but they called it higher, which was kind of a disservice by the market news service there. But El Reno had feeder steers steady to $2 lower, feeder heifers $1 to $4 lower, calves steady to $4 lower. And if you looked at the report out of El Reno, you see on Beef Market Central, that report shows all minuses in every weight group, both steers and heifers. You look at some other sales later in the week, Salina, Kansas, on Thursday had their feeder cattle selling $2 to $4 lower. All their lighter classes were lower also, but not as well tested. However, Pratt, Kansas was mostly steady and kind of unevenly steady throughout, had some ups and downs all through there. Individual quote out of Coffeyville, Kansas, Thursday afternoon at 2:30 had a load of 792-pound steers at 129.50, and that's about as good as you can find these days. But that's 3 minutes, and we'll talk to you next week.